Hello and welcome to Please Don't Send Me Into Outer Space, the podcast intent on exploring all that science fiction and fantasy has to offer, one movie at a time. My name is Joel.
My name is Sarah.
My name is Alfie the Goat. I mean, my name's Aaron.
Was it Alfie? I think it was Alfred.
Alfred. Yeah, well,
his proper
the small girl named, or never mind. All right, Alfred the Goat.
Yeah, use that proper.
AKA Aaron. Meh.
The movie this week is Return from Witch Mountain from 1978, directed by John Hugh and written by Malcolm Marmorstein and based on Alexander Key's characters. Starring Bette Davis, Christopher Lee, Kim Richards, Ike Eisenman, Jack Sue, and I'm not going to name all these stupid kids. They're cooler by their cool street names. Right?
Can we just name off their street names real quick?
Well, do you remember them?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
I remember Dazzler, but that was kind of the giveaway, wasn't it?
Right. That's the. You should have started from the cool names.
I don't remember the cool names, Joel.
There was Muscles. Rocky.
Okay.
Dorcas. No.
No. The other one was
Crusher. Yeah. Crusher's actor was credited as Poindexter, and only Poindexter in the
is that the dude?
Credits.
So I'm assuming they were trying to. This is the dude with the glasses, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, I assume so, also. By the way, that was Tina Yothers' brother, because Poindexter Yothers.
Do you think, like, did he just, like, make a career of being, like, a nerd later in life? Like, Poindexter was just, like... Oh, no, I guess that he was titled at the time of the movie. That was his name. Okay. Never mind.
That was actually, the actor's name was Poindexter, but, you know, Dexter for short, right?
Oh, no? Okay. No, fair enough. I'm being very judgmental right now.
Have you ever met a Dexter before?
No. I've never met a Poindexter.
I didn't remember that was actually a real name that people shorten.
Yeah.
But I remember thinking about the fact that if it was a name, it was associated with dorks.
Yeah.
And that seemed unfair for that person with that name.
Honestly.
Yeah, it's just one of those names, and unfortunately, that's permanently associated. Hey, let's talk about this movie.
If your name happens to be Poindexter or shortened to Dexter, can you please write in and give us like a small like report of some sort of how your life has been?
Yeah, I really want to hear about all the abuse you've lived through. Please write in today. Please don't podcast@gmail.com. Come on, Aaron.
Hey now.
Do you think that the show...
Off the rails!
Continue.
Do you think that the show Dexter would have been more scary if it was called Poindexter?
No.
Do you think that the show Dexter's Laboratory would make more sense if it was called Poindexter's Laboratory?
I'm sure he was Poindexter in that case.
Yes, me too.
I kind of like the sound of Poindexter's Laboratory better than Dexter's Laboratory.
Me too. Why didn't they do that? I guess we were supposed to know that unconsciously.
I feel like the first word balances the second word very well.
So in this movie, Tony and Ty...
Oh yeah, there are our buds from the first movie. I believe it's Escape to Witch Mountain.
Escape to Witch Mountain, yeah.
And now we're returning from...
Yeah, we never thought they'd come back, but here they are.
They're coming back down the mountain.
Like, if you haven't seen Escape to Witch Mountain, guess what? You're immediately spoiled on the ending of that movie, because this movie, it doesn't take place immediately after, but the scene from the end of the first movie.
Don't blame us. It was the randomizer, guys.
No, yeah, that's why we're watching it. But I'm just gonna, since we're gonna be talking about it, it's from the 70s, okay? A lot of people, although when I brought this movie up with people, they didn't know there was even a sequel.
You surprised me immediately, because like I've seen the first one a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
I remember kind of, even as a kid, falling asleep to that movie and waking up and seeing like flying cars and stuff and being really impressed, but not really remembering the center of the film very much.
The context of what was going on.
Well, I mean, I knew that they were trying to like get home or something.
Do you remember the parts where they were talking to a bear?
No, but now I feel cheated.
Well, this movie has her talking to a goat. The first movie, they're talking to a cat. They talk to a horse. They talk to a bear. Yeah, and dogs. That's right. There's this part where dogs are chasing at them, and rather than run away, they turn around and they're like, "Okay, you guys stop. Now there's some very bad men that are chasing after us, and I want you to turn around and get them." And the dogs do.
That is amazing.
Yeah, but here, I mean, what they do with the goat in this movie, though.
Yeah. Alfred the goat is pretty amazing.
I had seen the original a couple of times and fell asleep as well, Eric.
Okay.
But I think it was asking a lot of kids of the 80s to pay attention to it.
Yeah.
Because there's some heady stuff in it, and there's also some boring stuff in it, too. But the first one, I was just like, is there an RV in it to Joel? And he was like, yeah. And I'm like, that's what I remember, an RV.
It's pretty memorable.
Yeah.
It's pretty memorable.
And they are in a bad situation in that movie. But yeah, they make it through, and then this movie, dude, this would be the worst vacation ever.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, like they get, so they just get dropped off by their alien uncle in the beginning and put to a cab, and the worst cab driver in Los Angeles, which I don't know if that says much, but yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm just gonna put this out there. Like, why didn't they just like teleport them to the hotel?
They're not that kind of alien, Aaron.
Oh, okay.
They don't have teleportation powers. Don't be ridiculous.
You're right. That is asking a little much, isn't it?
There are powers that they have in this movie that they don't have in the first movie. Like, in the first movie, first of all, they don't know they're aliens.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole thing, right?
Okay.
They're learning that that's like the mystery that we solve during the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, the boy can only do his psychic powers in the movie when he's doing this. He uses a harmonica.
Okay, I remember that. I remember some harmonica going down.
Yeah. And the girl can speak to his mind, but he can't, for some reason, speak to her mind. Now, obviously, that's different in this movie.
Okay.
But we're just levitating whatever we want in here. And technology is the victim.
Well, I mean, do you really need technology if you can just move everything with your mind, Joel?
Oh, maybe that's why they're blowing everything up. They're like, this is cheap crap compared to our spaceship. We'll just destroy
my advanced
machine
mind.
I've ever... Every machine you see in this movie it seems to blow up.
My advanced mind is better than your advanced technology, Joel.
True.
Yeah, they destroy a bunch of stuff. They knock over a bunch of trash cans.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Bunch of hooligans.
Earth folk had no chance.
I feel like this is kind of similar to, like, I was saying to Joel earlier, it's kind of like Mary Poppins. They can just move stuff around. And,
That's a great way to sum up Mary Poppins.
She can move stuff around.
She's the nanny who moves things with her mind.
I feel she's more of a Time Lord, though, because her bag is also
of
infinite size.
It's just a bag of holding, right?
I guess so. I like to think in Aaron's fanfiction. In Aaron's fanfiction, it's a TARDIS.
Well, maybe those questions will be answered in the new Mary Poppins Returns movie that's coming out, I think, this year.
Oh, snap! So, worst cab driver ever.
Oh, yes.
So you're made guardian of two young kids. You run out of gas. You leave the cab behind.
They're in the bad neighborhood.
Now, I mean, would you guys take the kids with you to go get gas? Like, how would you feel about that? Does that? I mean, I'm just saying, you're a cab driver. You run out of gas because, like, obviously you've been doing donuts and at the Rose Bowl, waiting for whoever is going to show up.
Right.
And then you just start driving anyways without looking at your gas tank at that point? What's going on, guys?
I think he was on speed.
He seemed high-strung and grouchy. I wouldn't have left the kids alone. But I like the camaraderie between the kids. That's something that I think is cool in this movie. But I like them better than the gang of kids that comes in later.
Not a fan of them kids, huh? The warriors.
It's alright. It's just a little rascals type thing. And, like, I don't know.
I was pleased by their aesthetics, if that makes sense. I felt that
the way they were dressed?
Yes.
Oh.
The aesthetic of their gang, I felt really pleased me for some reason, because it felt like they were like little Conans, the barbarians, running through 70s Los Angeles, you know.
They were extras from the Bad video. Like,
Mm-hmm.
when they throw them that knife and they do kind of like a party in that parking lot or whatever.
I'm just saying, all he needed was little Viking helmets, and I really would have been, like, all about them.
No, you had to settle for ripped jean jackets with the skull design on the back.
I'm about it.
And, of course, the armlets with the studs on them.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, in reality, I'm sure that wouldn't go down exactly the way that this Disney movie is trying to sell it to us. But yeah.
How come the uncle dropped them off?
That's what I said. I thought you should just, like, teleport them or, like, maybe land the UFO on the top of the building or whatever.
I mean, I don't. What do you mean? Why did he drop them off?
Like, why didn't he just park it and go with them?
Oh yeah, to do. I don't know. He didn't explain why.
It was never explained, Sarah.
These kids are responsible enough in the first movie to get their asses all the way, across country to the Witch Mountains.
Right.
So maybe you thought they were.
But there was
handle it.
There was an unknown variable this time around. They didn't expect science.
Yeah, they
to
didn't
strike
expect,
back.
She's got better days. Okay, sorry. Now you were talking about Christopher Lee and his awesome car.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that car, guys. Man.
That car was awesome.
Christopher Lee could drive me anywhere in that car.
Yep.
Okay, here's it. Okay, God rest his soul. I absolutely love Christopher Lee. If he pulled up in a car, rolled down the window, was like, Aaron, get into my vehicle. Would you get in the car with him?
I'd be like, yes, my Lord Saruman.
Sarah? If he rolled up and said, Aaron, get into the vehicle, would you get in?
I mean, first I'd probably poop my pants, and then I'd hop in.
No, I'd be afraid.
They'll never make it.
Sorry,
through the
Christopher
mines of
Lee.
Moria.
You're a pretty scary guy in movies.
Have you guys listened to any of his metal albums?
No.
Okay. We'll have a little listen in a little bit.
Is this a joke?
Nah, he's got a couple metal albums.
Wow, that's cool. Joel says things like that all the time that aren't true. So I have to ask if it's a joke.
It's some good. I like it.
Yeah, he's playing a total creep in this movie who loves science above all things and is willing to sacrifice poor Betty Davis's nephew.
Well, and Betty Davis's money.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's all gone already, but he
gone.
made a good invention.
Yeah.
You got a special chip you stick right behind your ear, and you got a little, like a miniature walkie-talkie thing. You know what it looked like?
What it look like to you, Joel?
Looked like one of those, like, candy, like, plastic slot machine things.
Yeah! No, totally!
With a button on the side.
Gonna get that jackpot!
But, yes, when that thing was stuck to somebody, behind somebody's ear, he could tell them what to do at any point. Or something like that.
Man.
I think that's the key to their financial success, and they didn't really need to do other stuff.
Yeah.
They could just use that or sell it to other people.
And like everything probably would have been okay, but obviously there was an accident with their experiment. Test subject was going down. It was just like the circumstances of the situation that I think really worked against them, but also led our movie into its next act.
Right.
I mean, yeah, they must have field tested this beforehand, right? I mean, he knew. I don't know.
That's what I'm getting at too. Is like, well, but I think maybe this scene right here is supposed to show how twisted our scientist was by making a test subject do something they not necessarily would want to do.
Right, and they're both kind of like the bumbling evil villains on different sides of the thing.
Yeah.
Like neither of them are stupid, but they do seem to have ideas that they don't care how far they have to go to succeed in them.
I was going to say their passions kind of burn out reason. They burn so brightly it burns reason.
So when the kids are abandoned by the cab driver, one of them has a vision of a man falling off a building. So he, in this case, Tony, right? Tony runs off to go try to stop this and tells Ty to stay in the cab.
Mm-hmm.
And when he gets there, he does see that this lanky actor who I showed Sarah and Aaron the clip from Naked Gun 2.5 that I knew him from. He's the assassin who tries to kill Lisa Marie Presley in the shower and starts singing Memories from Cats. But, I mean, he's a lot younger
What's that song, Joel? I'm just kidding.
It's a song from The Way We Were.
Actually, I don't know.
It's the theme of The Way We Were.
The way we were.
Nice.
Can it be? No. He saves his life, and that's the mistake. Because their dirty uncle,
Oh, yeah.
when they dropped him off, told him not to use their powers.
Oh, of course not. Why should you be able to use the one thing that gives you an advantage on this planet?
I thought that guy, the lanky guy, looked like the guy that she falls in love with in Belle de Jour, the weird, like, street guy.
You'll have to forgive me. Belle de Jour?
It's a French movie with Catherine Deneuve in it.
Yeah, she's like a housewife, right? Who decides to become a prostitute. It's a weird movie.
Oh, fair enough.
It's kind of surreal.
Oh, that's cool. That sounds fun.
But visually, they do some really cool effects. And
isn't there a part where a Japanese man just wants her to? What, I can't remember what his fetish is. He's got some specific fetish, and he doesn't speak French.
I don't remember exactly what he wants her to do, but they send some other person in, I think, instead of her. And then
that one guy who was like, "Oh, I want you to mistreat me," and she doesn't like. She helps him, and so they have to send in his regular girl.
Yeah,
that's not the Japanese guy had like pain devices or something like that.
I don't know, but the guy she falls for wears this like 70s leather jacket, and he's like a lanky guy, but his teeth are kind of weird. But I thought that the guy in this movie reminded me of him, except for you could tell he didn't have those teeth.
Yes, he had perfect teeth.
He didn't speak French.
About this actor, he had perfect teeth.
Right.
And also, yeah. I'm trying to think of he looked like Woody. That's what it is. But with the skinny arms,
gangly, yeah,
like that kind of thing.
Cool.
He didn't look like he was related to Bette Davis because he was about 6 feet taller than her.
You're saying he didn't have Bette Davis eyes?
No, he didn't.
Speaking of music,
I think everyone's going to hate me from now on.
You guys like the music in this movie, right?
Oh, yeah, this was some funky music.
I was all about that 70s. Wah, 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 wah.
Yeah.
Two things about this movie, guys, if you really want to know. There's a lot of wah, 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 and there's a lot of
goats and 70s funk music.
And then there's little kids dressed up like Conan the Barbarians, aka also the Warriors.
I think of you're doing a wow.
Yeah.
I think of it. Like
Oh yeah.
kind of thing. Like
Wow, 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 wow.
It
like
was
something you associate with Shaft or something.
Funky People's Court.
Oh yeah.
I
Funky People's Court.
hear those bongos and stuff.
That's the court you don't want to go to. It's funky.
Was there a particular aesthetic sound that they would do when they were using their powers as well? Like, can you guys recall? I can't remember.
Maybe like a theremin or something.
Was that present? Because sometimes when that stuff happens, I tune it out in my head.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, in the first movie, they definitely were using something very like if it wasn't a theremin, it sounded like because it was like
Yeah, like a
kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't really remember it going on in the second movie nearly as much.
Okay, so it wasn't just me because, like, honestly, I relate these type of scenes in particular kids like the movie I'm thinking of is the one with the cat that's an alien and it's got a collar that like glows every now and then.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
But they use that effect normally whenever the cat is using its collar.
Yeah, I guess I didn't notice it that much. I thought the music was really, like, energetic in this, but some of the circumstances seemed a little bit mundane for the level of the music action.
Yeah, no, I totally get that.
That's
I totally
how
get,
I felt.
like a group of kids running down the street. Wow, 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 wow,
Yeah.
Let's go to this abandoned house.
Like by the old water silo. But it's like Shaft's checking it out.
The truancy officer.
Oh yeah,
They're going to take us to school.
Truancy officers after us.
I don't want to go to school.
Yep.
Neither do I, kid, but you know what? You have to.
Do your time.
Those kids look down on their luck.
Yeah, they definitely weren't the toughest gang in Los Angeles. I didn't get that vibe.
I mean, weren't they hungry?
Well, that was the funny part is that after the brother is kidnapped and the sister saves the kids and they reconcile for a place for her to hide, being their hangout with the crystal skull, they all each talk about how tough they are for about 5 minutes, then they all go home. They talk about how they're going to their homes.
We're going to go eat dinner with our mom. They say something like that.
Yeah. So
I feel like these kids were intended to be homeless, and then somebody was like, no, they need to have homes.
I have a feeling, too, that there was definitely like a little studio interjection there of no, be sure to,
and there were
have that family unit.
There were a couple of moments, too, where I thought it looked like it could have gone far enough that someone could have been killed by something.
Oh, yeah.
Like the car crash.
Yeah.
And, like, immediately afterwards, they were like, everybody okay? And they were like, yeah. Like, immediately afterwards, after the van crash.
How do you flip a van? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure that one of them got a bruise at least if that really happened.
I was sure they were going to die, yeah. Or, that should have been the end of the movie.
Yes, I'm going to learn how to video edit, and once that van flips over, I'm just going to put on the screen the end. Play sad music over it.
And then I would try to clip in a little bit of the goat just walking down the street, and then just put the end.
Oh, what I'll do is I'll put the goat bursting through the door.
The goat,
followed by the van flipping over.
Oh, that's good.
The goat is really the hero and kind of stole the show.
He doesn't come into the last 20 minutes either, which is unfortunate. We could have used a goat the whole time.
Yeah,
Totally.
I think that the beats in the movie are like, she meets the kids, the little gang of kids. Then after Tony
gets kidnapped.
Yeah.
I didn't even mention that. He immediately sticks a thing, or no, he injects him. I forgot about that. He injects him, and next time we see Tony, he's on a table with his shirt off, and they're running experiments on him.
Our good doctor is chloroform ready at any moment.
Oh yeah. They got gas. They got chloroform. They got something in the needle ready to go. Not to mention the mind control chip.
Dude's got kidnap on the mind.
This isn't his first time stealing children.
No, not at all. Not at all.
He abuses people.
Yeah. I guess
user.
I guess if you do create some type of mind control, you must be,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he takes it to the logical conclusion by the end of the movie.
Maybe when he was in jail, he also developed the Polybius arcade machine.
That's probably exactly what happened.
I knew it.
They didn't destroy everything in that lab. It was probably down there.
Oh, dang.
Somebody was like, hey.
Christopher Lee's like, of course, this arcade machine will control the children with it. Dang.
And all it really did was give them headaches and make them nauseous.
That's right. MK Ultra. You're right, though. The goat totally stole the show, Sarah. Like, there's no doubt about it.
That made me happier. I mean, I like animals anyway, but I feel like I would have found that part more interesting than a lot of the stuff that happened anyway.
I'm wondering if this is a continual theme. Obviously, we have, talking to bears in the first movie, and other type animal dogs.
The cat's really cute in the first one.
And then this one has a goat. I'm wondering if the third film also kind of finishes the trilogy of kids with superpowers hanging out with animals.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, they better have some sort of, because I think that's really interesting that she's able to communicate with animals that way, just as a power.
I like it. I like it a lot. It's cool.
There's an urgency to the first movie that this one doesn't have, even though it's like an imaginary time limit. Like, we need to get back to the Rose Bowl.
At the rendezvous point to meet our uncle who dropped us off in LA for the weekend. Pasadena, whatever.
I don't even know. Yeah.
Go, kids, enjoy 1970s Los Angeles. I hope you're okay.
Right. That's what I was thinking.
Are you wearing gang-neutral colors? Okay, just check.
Yeah.
I thought, actually...
She was red.
She was wearing red.
It made me think of in Deep Space Nine when they go to the Pleasure Planet with Worf.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a retreat, and I was like, oh, they're just going to another planet for a vacation getaway.
Yeah, well, that was weird, because, in the first movie, I felt like their ship had crashed or something like that. Like, that's what they were indicating.
Yeah, you don't... yeah.
And in this one, they were like, oh, you didn't get the chance to grow up like a regular human. You get to go to the museum and possibly a concert or something like that. It's like, wait, are you saying that you also grew up on the planet?
I wonder if he got him, tickets to go see the monkeys.
That would have been...
I'm just trying to think what, 1978 Los Angeles... That'd be great to go see the monkeys and go to the La Brea Tar Pit.
Yeah.
I see that, yeah.
Yeah, there would have been some fun stuff for them to do if they'd had a appropriate guardian with them.
Yeah. They could have bought their Davy Jones t-shirt, and just been like, yeah. Good thing our appropriate, also telepathic guardian was here for us.
Yeah.
Telekinetic.
If he had actually bothered.
Yeah.
He was sitting on that spaceship, smoking himself crazy and watching, I don't know, whatever he wants. Now that the kids aren't around.
Is this a reflection of parenting in the 1970s going on here, guys? I mean,
maybe, I don't know.
I mean, he's not the only absentee adult figure in this movie, because obviously,
all them kids,
the gang kids are letting them run around. They must have been getting calls from the school being like, your children aren't showing up,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I like that this truant officer has absolutely nothing else to do with his life except hang around in a van in bad parts of town looking for kids that are skipping school.
Mr. Yakamoto loves his job, okay?
It's like in Ferris Bueller's Day Off when they keep trying to catch him. Yeah. Really? I know grown-ups can be a bummer sometimes, but most of the time they have better stuff to do than just, see if someone is pretending to be sick from school.
He's just devoted to education and making sure... And he even said, he was like, someday you can come back and visit me and say, thanks for picking me up.
Wait, who are you talking about? You said that to the alien boys? Girls?
I think he said that to the young gang kids
Oh, okay.
who didn't have switchblades and or firearms or other ways to
The
of defending
regular
themselves.
kids.
These kids thought the name Dazzler was tough. Come on.
I gotta say that was probably the most that was the moment in this film I didn't expect.
Dazzler?
Yeah, that was the one moment. Well, I expected him just to be like, I don't know, like some street name like Tough Dog or, Bag of Bricks.
At least he didn't do like
yeah, he did.
Yeah.
finger wave thing when he said, and I'm Dazzler.
I thought he would grow up to be an illusionist based on
Yeah.
that name.
Yeah.
They thought they were magicians using them psychic powers or whatever's going on. So a couple of good set pieces in this movie. I'd say the whole museum gold heist is actually very entertaining.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy.
For me, that was like the only entertaining part. And
I'm sorry.
and even that, no, I'm not saying it's the only entertaining part of the movie, but it was the only entertaining part that had to do with the actual like plot,
Yeah, I
like
can see where you're coming from.
storyline of the kid being kidnapped and them using him to do something that they couldn't have done without him.
Precisely.
Yeah. I felt like that was like, okay, well, they actually are using him to try and steal something that they wouldn't be able to get at if he didn't have the ability to lift it with his mind.
It's kind of like they're trying to figure out ways that they can use this kid's powers for their own personal game. And like, I feel like they're reaching, like overestimating what the kid will be capable of doing and what they'll be able to get away with. Like, I know it's a kid's movie, and this is just me nitpicking, but like, he can do things with his brain, yeah, and he can lift people up, but he's not omnipotent or something like
Right.
that. Like, they're not going to get away with that gold if they had gotten away with the gold.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Right. But that was funny watching the bricks of gold just get thrown at the car. Somebody had fun throwing those
Oh, yeah.
at the car.
Absolutely.
Great.
Yeah.
And then it was like, there's no way the car is going to be able to handle that weight. And sure enough, when you see the car, it's like partially crushed down by all the gold weight. They have to leave it.
And then Christopher Lee comes and he's like, Betty Davis, you and your nephew should get back to my basement right now.
Cut it out.
So good.
I told you we're only going to use these powers for super evil, not regular evil.
Yes, indeed.
I think it's a lot like other kids' movies at the time, like maybe something like Freaky Friday or The Nutty Professor or what else?
I was thinking of Mr. Super Invisible.
That actually was the first thing this movie reminded me of. And that was like a made-for-TV movie, wasn't it?
No, it just wasn't. It was like in the style of the Disney movies, but it was actually made by like a different company.
Yeah, it reminded me of that tremendously. The first powers they started using, like those things reminded me of the way they did Mr. Invisible or whatever it was called.
Totally.
I just couldn't remember it right now, but I was thinking about it while we were watching it. And it is silly. There's some silly stuff.
I like those two main kids, like as
Oh yeah.
as characters. Like in the movie, I think that they do a really good job of holding the movie together. Like they are the ones who have to hold most of the weight of the plot. And I think in this one, unfortunately, Ty does great. She did the woman who plays or the girl who plays Ty in the movie. She does a good enough job holding the movie herself. But it kind of sucks that Tony is relegated to just standing there and taking orders and not actually like saying anything.
Being the manipulated.
Yeah. Instead, we had the precocious kid bunch, which I was worried were going to be incredibly irritating, and they weren't. They were okay.
Oh, I mean, the movie just basically consisted of them running from point A to point B for the most part.
Yeah, I was glad we didn't get like a ton of the group of kids because I really thought that the other two kid actors were really good and I was following what was going on with them more, and I was glad that they didn't just turn it into like the kids running around and talking movie.
I think if there was a pie chart of this movie, I'm really glad that there's that segment that's like completely goat.
Me too.
Because that goat melts hearts and destroys doors.
That goat had a mission.
Yeah,
he knew how to get into a cab.
Oh yeah,
across town, and he knew what kind of tip that cab driver actually deserved after abandoning 2 children, possibly.
Yeah, no concern whatsoever for those kids, huh? Just drove off.
Yeah.
Left them in Los Angeles.
He didn't feel responsible for them going missing at all.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I like the idea of these characters, but I think, there's infinite possibilities of what could have happened to them being back on Earth again. And I felt like the story wasn't really that big of a deal. But I do think that, for a kid's movie from the 70s, it's not so bad. It's just not my favorite,
I see where you were coming from earlier, Sarah, where there was definitely some lull moments, and I'm really thankful for the particular moment with the museum as well. But I think you're right. This movie, I totally see where you're coming from, and I agree with you that it's a pretty fun kids movie. There's definitely probably better ones, but I think overall I had a good experience.
Yeah.
This is the best movie ever made. I don't know why you guys are so down on it. I don't know what you're trying to prove. I don't think I've ever seen a better movie.
Fievel Goes West.
That movie sucked. Another set piece that I like a lot in this movie is the whole van chase.
Yeah.
They're all trying to chase down evil people's car.
Oh, yeah.
And poor Mr. Yokomoto has got his truancy vehicle, his special van for picking up children. Wait,
city property.
Yeah. And he ends up in the chase going after the car, and Christopher Lee in Evil Car keeps telling Tony to put different obstacles in front of the van, and Ty has to quickly try to manipulate things to get things out of the way. So, like, they bring in a bus, and she lifts up the bus out of the way. There's what else?
There's a cement mixer, was it? Or was it a gas truck or something?
What happens?
Oh, that was the one where I think they just kind of dodge out of the way of that one.
Yeah. They do a lot of dodging, a lot of maneuvering.
There's like a school bus that kind of turns sideways.
All right, that's the one that like lifts at the angle there.
Yeah, they lift the school bus up,
and then the whatever the
Santa Fe train cars.
The 2 train cars that just happen to be right there, and then that's when the van levitates, much like the RV did. So these kids are getting good at their psychic stuff. But yeah, it does eventually just. I don't even remember how it ends up crashing.
Well, what happens is Christopher Lee tells Tony that he needs to create a bright, reflective flash of light
that will blind the driver.
That will blind the driver.
That's right.
But specifically, as the driver was coming down the hill, as to cause a catastrophic crash that will kill children.
And they weren't wearing seatbelts.
I mean, they don't go to school. I would assume one would lead to the other.
It's the 70s, I don't think.
Oh, there probably wasn't even any seatbelts. Yeah.
It could have been better with a cat. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, that cat in the first movie is pretty cute.
The goat is cool too, but they could have had a cat and a goat.
I just want the goat spin-off movie, Secret Agent Goat, like I said.
Alfred Goat About Town.
Yeah. That goat could solve a couple of mysteries, I'm telling you.
Mm-hmm.
I love that goat. I'm just thinking about it right now.
I felt like they were kind of in trouble once they got a hold of his sister.
Oh, yeah.
When did they get a hold of her?
I believe the sister was nabbed.
He tells her, Christopher Lee tells Tony to pretend that he's now receiving her messages.
And in the dungeon or whatever it is.
And that's where we first see the goat.
Yeah.
Because there's been a goat here this whole time, and nobody knew until she came in.
Quietly sitting in the corner.
It's a good goat.
Yeah.
Can't always count on a goat to do things like that.
And he's thinking, come here, come find me, follow my voice. And then she walks right into the trap. I forgot about that part.
Yeah.
Same here.
It's because she gets chloroformed, right?
Oh, yeah.
There was a part earlier in the movie where the
straight up chloroformed.
The gangly-looking guy, bad guy, gets...
Sickle?
We see him with a gas mask on. That's just like been shooting him with, I don't know, with like, whatever, laughing gas.
During one of Christopher Lee's character's experiments of controlling Tony.
So, he should be dead.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he had that mask on for like more than a couple minutes, and I'm sure you should be brain dead right now.
Yeah. There's a reason why anesthesiologists... Why did I pick the hardest word in the world to try to say? Get paid a lot of money. You always... Anyways, it's a scary thing to think of.
That's like a 50-point word or something.
Yeah, so they sedate her, and they've got her in this, like, iron lung-looking thing that's plastic, and then she starts trying to tell... Does she try to communicate something to somebody else at first? To her brother?
No, she's
to the
trying
kids?
to reach out to to rambunctious kids.
And they don't receive her, but you know who receives her? The goat.
Alfred.
And the goat's like, oh yeah, I could do that for you. And he runs and gets the kids. And he takes something that belongs to her so that they know that she was with the goat.
Yeah, the goat's carrying an ID card or
I believe it was her vest.
He steals her vest and they run after it, yeah. They have to get that vest back.
Well, I mean, all I'm going to say is if I'm a 1970s gangster kid sitting in my house and a goat comes in and grabs a vest and leaves, I'm pretty sure I'm going to follow that goat.
Yeah.
See, that's another title for the alternate goat movie. Follow that goat.
Follow that goat.
At this point, Christopher Lee has decided, like I said, to take things to a logical conclusion, which is we're going to drive over to the local plutonium plant or whatever and threaten to blow up a large chunk of Los Angeles using Tony. That's thinking on your feet, right? Like, I've got a kid who can control things with his mind and is psychic. Like, let's go to the plutonium plant.
Well, Bette Davis's plan was to steal gold bars with a car that couldn't hold the gold bars. And I feel that Christopher Lee's character is definitely one who's a little more, he thinks more big picture, I think. And so he realizes that the power of manipulating, mass and objects can be utilized much more.
Science.
I don't know. With
don't...
deadlier accuracy.
Not only can he gain wealth, he can gain power.
Yes.
Power is more important. Oh, we forgot to mention at the beginning he was talking about some unknown force.
Oh, you mean when he saw Sickle falling to his death after his machine
Yeah, the nephew's name is Sickle. They're weird names. What is Bette Davis's character's name?
Start with an L.
Lethal.
Oh, no. It was
It didn't start with an L, did it? Sorry.
The TH was in the middle of it where like an S or something usually is.
Lethal?
It was like...
Lethal weapon.
Yeah, it's lethal. Yeah, Letha. Like Lisa, but with the...
yeah, with instead of an S, a TH. Yeah, Letha.
And he was Victor Gannon.
Letha, Gannon, and Sickle.
Yeah, I don't know why Sickle.
And these people didn't really seem to enjoy each other's company that much.
Well, we learned very quickly that Sickle only hung out because he was the beneficiary of Letha's estate.
That's right.
So it's money, of course, that is tying them together.
Yes, they're evil. That's all you really need to know. They've got evil ambitions, and evil brings them all together.
Yeah.
Gold bars. Solid gold.
But, so, when they go to this plutonium plant, or whatever it is, and they lift up that poor guard who just wanted to see their ID.
Oh, yeah, they leave that
Straight to
guy
the
in
ceiling.
the air for a long time.
There's a lot of comical lifting in movies.
Yeah.
We could just brush over. We don't really have to talk about it, but, like, I mean, there's...
That guy, it looked like they lifted him up from underneath in one shot. Like, you could see his body rising. And then in the other shot, it looked like he was on, like, a pulley, like, from the side. They showed him from the side, and he was, like, hanging, but it was like he was on a lift or a, what do you call it, a fly?
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah.
He was just trying to do his job. Even after he was up in the air, he was like, you can't go in there without your ID.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he had to do his due diligence.
True. He gets down at some point because
Oh, I'm pretty sure
because when the gang of younglings come in, he's back down at his desk, but he doesn't report the fact that there's intruders.
I get the feeling that Tony being mind controlled while mind controlling probably could hold him up a little bit longer, but maybe it was because Lisa was had her own wits about her, and her full concentration was on trying to fight the brother.
You mean Tia?
Tia, yeah, not Lisa.
Lisa,
Simpson.
I thought you loved me.
Her name's Tia.
Tia.
Yes.
Sorry.
Like that. Wait, Tila? Tila from He-Man? Never mind.
My apologies, podcast.
No, like
and all
Tia
listeners.
Carrera.
Like my Tia and my Tio.
Forgive my snafu.
No,
We're-
you're good.
We're all
good.
disgusted, but we'll continue on.
Thank you.
It's,
No, I'm very thankful that you're showing this sign of disgust.
it's called professionalism.
I know, and my lack of such thing.
True. But yeah, I mean, cooling, that's a pretty big gamble to make, right? It's not like they were going to be able to get away if they didn't pay the $5 million they were requesting in time. Like they were talking about a chain reaction happening because of the cooling system going offline.
Yeah, that's a bad move that they make trying to get a hold of these weapons.
Yeah.
I mean, what exactly were they planning to do with them?
Well, I think the plan was to get the $5 million, but
Oh, right.
but I mean, it really, I don't know what the end game was other than get money.
Dr. Gannon was like, and make sure to tell them that Victor Gannon has completed his scientific experiments on mind control and matter manipulation. And they hung up the phone like, okay, I guess we'll tell somebody.
Like he wanted to get famous or something.
Infamous.
Christopher Lee is one of the James Bond villains in one of his movies. Have either of you seen that one?
Christopher Lee was a James Bond villain?
Yes.
I don't
Shut
know
up.
which one.
Shut up.
I think it's the one with Grace Jones in it, but I could be wrong about that.
That's someone else that we were just talking about. That was Christopher Walken.
Oh, that's true. But Christopher Lee is definitely also.
Shut
I'm
up.
looking it up right
No way.
now. I'm looking at your face.
Maybe I shouldn't be so... I'm actually pleasantly surprised.
Why are you so angry?
I'm not angry. I'm actually smiling.
Don't hit me.
I'm not angry.
Okay, so it would be before the year 2000, before the year 1990. This is entertaining for listeners, right? Continue talking about the movie, guys.
So I gotta say that the plutonium plant from the outside kind of just looked like an oil refinery. It didn't really have the power plant aspect to it, which was a bit misleading to me.
They could do that in real life, and it would probably be a good idea to have stuff hidden in a place that does not look like it would have crazy stuff inside. But yeah, there's a lot of places that look similar on the outside around here that could have been that plutonium place.
I totally see where you're coming from.
Where they shot it.
You're right. One should definitely hide your nuclear powered stuff if possible. You ever been to the Diablo power plant?
Where's that?
It's in like Diablo, California.
No.
The man with the golden gun.
Really? So he's the golden gun dude?
Possibly. Roger Moore. Yeah, it's got
You're blowing my mind here, dude.
It's got the actor who played Tattoo on Fantasy Island in it, yeah. And Sheriff J.W. Pepper.
That's crazy, Joel.
Is he wearing an eye patch or something?
No, but I believe he has the superfluous third nipple for some reason. That's a plot point.
Really?
Yeah, he's the third nipple man. You're right. Damn, how could I forget these important facts?
Third nipple man.
Well,
actually, there's not a song.
We'll need to stop doing this podcast and start our Please Don't Be a James Bond Villain podcast.
I like it.
Ooh, Bond villain by Bond villain. You could
Give that the kill by kill.
bios.
Please don't kill James Bond's wife. The podcast.
No, like a minute by minute, but it's like each Bond villain.
I think we got to figure it out.
Please don't shake but stir the podcast.
Yeah, shaken not stirred.
Oh, sorry guys. Thank you for listening to us, by the way. Appreciate all y'all.
I'm a little loopy tonight.
This movie sent me to a place I didn't suspect tonight. It was definitely some weird nostalgia feels.
Yeah.
In the sense that like I could imagine myself as a kid watching this, but instead it was adult Aaron. Like some major Dr. Manhattan Watchmen kind of stuff, but I'm back to being Aaron in the present now. That's right. And it was a fun time. I'm really glad we got to watch this movie together. I don't know why I'm sounding like I'm wrapping it up, but if you guys want to talk more about it, I'm ready.
It's because they're playing the SNL music right now. And
thank you.
I really liked her outfit. Tia's outfit in this was like a kid's leisure suit from the 70s. It was a very bright color and had like a little top that it had big lapels on the jacket and the shirt. And it was 3-piece. It had a vest too that matched. And the pants were like shorts, like gaucho pants or something, but it was a cool look for her. I mean, if that were in a different color today or maybe a different fabric, could be a pretty hot outfit. And with the hairdo she had too, I feel like, yeah, costume choices were pretty cool. I liked what Bette Davis was wearing most of the time.
Yeah.
And,
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, there were some cool costumes and some cool little, like, locations and cars and stuff that they used too. Like the van was like a Ford minibus and the car was like a super cool like
Citroen,
European
22
sports car. It was really cool.
Yeah.
I was about it too.
Christopher Lee dressed snappily as ever.
Right.
Those like crisp suits and stuff like that. Yeah. I wonder if it's just his wardrobe that he wore set, or if it's a costume.
And the gangly guy mostly just wore like a turtleneck and some pants.
That worked for him.
My favorite costuming, of course, is the gang kids. I feel that I was attuned to what they had going on.
It's because that's the way you dress. That's why you liked it so much.
Thank you.
Wearing
It takes it as a compliment, dude.
Wrists.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Studs.
They almost
me and Conan and Kevin Sorbo, aka Hercules days.
All those kids are trying to beat you up at Arsenal. I know what's going on
all the time.
They almost seemed ahead of their time. They almost seemed like 80s kids.
Yeah.
And this was the 70s.
That's kind of like Warriors, like you were saying during the movie, right? They're kind of dressed that way.
Yeah.
In Los Angeles for some reason, but
yeah, like the cab driver totally kind of like drove across the country and decided to like take a career, try to bring the East Coast cabbie lifestyle to the West Coast.
22 years ago, they tried to kill Robert De Niro tried to kill me, so I moved to the other coast. Life's been pretty good since then.
This is the called a taxi cab driver.
And now I drive goats
Taxi
around.
driver.
His life is ruined at the end of this movie.
I was wondering if did he sink into vigilanteism as well? After, like, I gotta get all the goats.
I don't know. I think he was arrested. It turned out he'd been smuggling, I don't know, drugs for
Speed.
years or something. Yeah, they pay me in speed, officer.
What was your favorite effect that they did in this movie?
Ooh.
I liked when they made a hole in the glass where the gold was in the museum.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool.
Along the same vein, when they rebuild the van at the end of the
Oh,
movie.
yeah.
Joel, no, it's fine. It's fine.
It's so cool.
No, that
It
is
is
like
cool.
such a good moment. Well, if you guys are going to choose like two really cool ones, I'm going to choose a cheesy one.
Okay.
I like the scene when all the kids link hands together and they fly over the fence.
Yeah! No, that was pretty memorable, too.
That's a magical moment of friendship, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, then they try to do it again after the alien kids have
And they
left.
just hit that chain link fence. I love it.
I
love
skipping
it.
a beat.
Yeah, totally.
I also like the part where the bad guy explodes oh, that was a different movie.
That's
sorry.
the Fury, Joel.
Sorry.
Which you just showed me tonight.
We'll be covering that eventually.
There was definitely a moment where you could totally edit that movie into this movie, though. There was definitely at least one moment.
Yeah.
One last Christopher Lee moment. Boom.
Obviously, a lot of this is pre, scanners, pre.
The ending was... yeah.
Yeah, I don't know when Scanners came out.
No, I think Scanners is like 80s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Scanners is 80s for sure.
I'm gonna look because I hate you. No, wait,
No,
that's
it's fine, Joel. But I'm just saying, yeah, there's definitely a couple moments where immobilizing adults would lead to their dismemberment in most modern fiction nowadays.
Yeah, totally.
Instead of just like throwing them on a plank of wood.
The ending was a little bit of a Scooby-Doo type ending
Oh, yeah.
where the bad guys were like up on a little, what do you call it? A painter or window washers
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, I saw the word in my brain and it just flew out.
No.
Scaffolding. Yeah.
Is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why is there? They had to paint one beam in that place or something.
I think the part that made me smile and chuckle the most was the moment when the brother, Tony, is trying to, or is being manipulated to crush Tia with something that that blatantly on the side of it states how many tons.
Yeah.
Just so you know. Just so you know.
He's like overpower. Like holy crap! He just wants this kid dead.
Crush her.
I want some Tia jam.
Well, I mean, his need for money, Joel.
True.
His need for money means the death of a child.
He says that there's a force in this movie too, which was
I
pretty
know.
fun.
I said that earlier.
Count
You guys
Dooku.
both ignored me. Like I don't know what he's talking about. But yes.
On the recording or when we were watching it? Oh,
recording.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
We're
yes.
obviously a little more awake now for some reason.
He totally went Count Dooku on it. And then he was like, "You are the chosen one, Tony. Aaron, get into my car. Out of my dreams."
Out of my dreams.
So we can, I think we've teased out this movie as much as we can. I don't know, you guys feeling okay about that?
I feel like
I
this
agree.
movie has been accurately represented.
I think me and Sarah, mostly me, watched the Escape to Witch Mountain right
Mhm.
before you actually came over.
Oh,
Aaron.
nice.
And I think that is actually a very good movie. It's not. I think as a kid, I definitely would have been bored, and they've probably just like you guys. I fell asleep watching it many times, especially if it was like playing on the Disney Channel with commercials and stuff like that. I would have just like zoned out.
I recall this was like one of few VHS tapes that I had a particular babysitter that would play this one.
Because they knew it was going to conk you out.
Yeah, and they knew.
I feel like even as a kid, I found Columbo way more interesting than this.
Columbo.
But that movie, having seen it as a grown-up, is nowhere near as scary as I thought it was as a kid.
The scary thing about the first movie is those memories she keeps having of like somebody potentially drowning before they get, because they do this like weird effect on the screen and they do the weird music going on. It's cool to see as an adult. I really liked the way that was done.
Seeing that as an adult, even though I did fall asleep for part of it because this weekend was a long one.
More power to you, Sarah.
Thanks.
Powering through it.
Was seeing like the nature and stuff, like where they get to the lake and they have the trees and everything.
Big Sur.
It's like you don't really see that. You don't really feel like you're in nature a lot in the same way in movies anymore.
I wonder if one could relate Escape to Witch Mountain and Return from Witch Mountain from like Predator 1 and Predator 2. Predator 1 is out in the wilds where they're fighting the Predator. In Predator 2, the Predators come to the city in order to hunt man.
I think the screenwriters all took the same class.
Sounds about right.
Because obviously they all have the same screenwriters, right? Part 1 and Part 2. Everything. Yep.
Oh, everything.
Uh-huh. I don't think so.
What
As
about?
I was going to say about Escape to... I think Escape to Witch Mountain is like an 8 out of 10. Like, just very solidly done with cool practical effects and stuff like that. And I think this is like a 6.5. I don't want to say 7. I don't... I mean, numbers are meaningless. I'm just saying that, like, I still think it was good. I think it was enjoyable. I probably won't watch it again.
Well, it doesn't overshadow the first.
Right, that's the thing.
Yeah. Definitely give it mad props for the funky soundtrack. Usage of a goat in a movie as a heroic character. Sick cars
And costumes.
Costumes are really a lot of good costuming. Shady adults.
No Winnebagos.
Real shady adults, but I mean it is LA, right?
Mm-hmm. And it's from a kid's perspective.
From a kid's perspective, yeah. I'd probably view this movie again. But what I would do is I would try to find the third one so I could do like a mini marathon, watch them all. That'd be pretty fun.
I probably wouldn't choose to watch this again unless it was like a party situation where I didn't have to pay full attention to it. And Escape from Witch Mountain 2, I don't know, or Escape to Witch Mountain. I don't know if I would show that to like kids I know. Like there are some movies where I'm like, I want to show them this one because I really, really like it, but I don't think it's the kind that I would. Like I don't know if they'd enjoy it. I don't know if I really enjoyed it as a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
It is interesting, and it is, it's not that it's a bad story. It's just maybe not the most fun movie watching experience for kids.
Parents, have your kids watch the movie and write in today. Not you. I want letters from the kids.
I would say if you are looking for movies that possess kids with like mental powers, or not even movies, there's a manga that's called My Psychic Girl. That one's really awesome. I highly recommend going on eBay and buying a complete run of that comic and reading it. It's pretty good.
You want our listeners to read?
I'm just saying, if you're looking for really cool, similar storylines.
They could also read the book that this is based on.
I'm sure they could, Joel.
Was it just the first one that a book was used as the source material?
Yeah, there was no second book.
Yeah.
As far as I could tell, based on my cursory glance on the internet.
Okay.
To go completely off topic before we round up or read the outro stuff. Another movie series that goes from the foresty area to the city area.
Mm-hmm.
Short Circuit.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
We should do Short Circuit. I haven't seen it in years, but I used to watch it as a kid.
Los Lobos.
It's got the Doobie, or not the Doobie. God. It's got the Bee Gees in it.
That's right. More than a woman.
That's right.
Well, he's more than a man too, because he's a robot.
More than a robot to me. Yeah.
That's probably how I first got to know that song.
And you can finally hear Who's Johnny by DeBarge? Is that the name of that band?
Which song?
You don't know the song. We've had this discussion before. The band is
Oh, yeah.
New Jack Swing. Although that song is not. Anyways, I'm going to read the outro stuff. You guys think of a lesson you learned.
There's a Weird Al parody of that song, Joel.
Yeah, I know.
Here's Johnny.
What? Is it from a later album?
No. I'll tell you next time.
Okay. Hey, listener, if you want to write in a suggestion to us, or a comment, or you want to tell us to shut up, send an email to pleasedon'tpodcast@gmail.com. I'd like to hear some stories that you remember of watching movies on TV when you were younger that put you to sleep, but you still think are fascinating in some way. I mean, like, just off the top of my head, I always used to fall asleep to Mary Poppins, which we discussed here, and then this one, a bunch of Disney-like movies that were
Popeye.
Just interesting enough that I remember, but not necessarily able to keep my attention. Yeah, Popeye was another one, too, yeah. And Robert Altman, he sure knew how to make a movie. Or you can message us on Facebook, facebook.com/PDSMiOS. If you listen to us on Apple Podcast, iTunes, or any of the like, we'd appreciate it if you left us a star and or written rating on that particular service. I don't know if there are other services that allow ratings, but if you could rate us anywhere, or tell your friends about us, or tell your family about us, or if there's a favorite episode, tell people to listen to that one. We'd appreciate that. Thank you in advance.
Yes. Or we'll remove the coolant from your nuclear reactors until you give us all 5-star likes.
Until you tell 5 of your friends about our podcast, you will die of this explosion, which will also kill us.
10 megaton explosion from your nuclear reactors.
And remember to tell them Joel Torres did it. Kaboom. If you'd like to hear more podcasts like us, check out the other podcast on the Ear Trumpet Audio Network, eartrumpetaudio.com for all that good stuff. All right, give me a lesson. Somebody, did you learn a lesson? Would you
yeah.
Talk about a lesson.
Learned? Oh, man. If, for whatever reason, you receive a premonition that someone is going to fall from a roof, don't go by yourself. Take your sister with you. Because more than likely, your sister's also going to have awesome, cool mental powers, and she can just, stop people from chloroforming you.
Yeah, at least
you can always find a different cab.
Leave her on the corner. She could have been the backup,
You got cool magical powers. You can find a car again, or fly to the hotel.
That's another thing I thought of while they were, down on their luck, is that they could levitate themselves, if need be, to the hotel.
Well, she does. I mean, there's a little bit of a contradiction there because she states she doesn't know where the hotel is.
Oh,
to the boys
okay.
when she's in the clubhouse or whatever.
I see.
Gang central headquarters.
She's just what, like the 11-year-old, 12-year-old kid? Come on.
I don't know how old they're supposed to be versus how old they actually were when they made this, but it looked like he may have been about to get a faint mustache.
Oh yeah. I will say though that from his perspective, I understand why he wanted his sister to be safe.
Oh yeah.
I get it, but I'm just saying my lesson is don't ever go out in Los Angeles alone.
She's been able to handle everything on her own anyway.
Yeah.
I don't. It's counterintuitive to the previous movie where she's been able to do things just as well as he has. It's not not a I need to protect my sister kind of situation.
Okay,
but whatever.
You understand what
the movie.
You understand where I'm coming from, though.
No, Aaron, you're putting women down.
Oh, well, that's not my. I'm just saying the sister could have been there to save him.
That's true.
He's
what
not
I'm trying to say.
putting her down.
Another thing they could have done: just let that man die.
Yeah, you're right.
Sundown, you better take care if I find you creeping round my back stair.
What?
I've had it in my head for an hour.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The other lesson,
Put that out.
The other lesson I learned is I want more goat movies.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. Yeah, that's a good lesson.
Oh, a lesson for me.
I want Black Phillip the movie.
That would be cool. My lesson for this movie is if you get dropped on a planet that's not something you're completely familiar with, maybe have a backup plan in case of emergencies. Or a map or something. They had a map in the first one, right?
I mean, yeah, they had kind of a map, yeah, but that's what sent them on their whole journey. You know?
I just think it's weird that, like, he didn't even give him, like, an address to the hotel or nothing. That's weird.
The cab driver knew all the information. That's the thing. He trusted too much in this cab driver. Like, here's a piece of paper, take that with you. Did the cab driver just throw it away or something like that?
I'm just saying when a cab driver comes screaming in reverse at you, that's
No.
a sign.
I feel like, yeah, they could have had a babysitter at the hotel or something, but it seemed like they were having a wild weekend in LA, like, as kids who were lost in the bad part of town.
You have to go from the Rose Bowl
That's
through
Pasadena.
the bad part of town, and then you end up at the museum. Everyone knows this.
They made it to at least the La Brea Tar Pits because we saw those.
Right, those are in Pasadena, right?
No.
No.
But the Rose Bowl is.
The lesson I learned from this movie is that there's lots of cool things to see in Los Angeles, like museums and tar pits and derelict buildings and
Concerts.
Castles where rich people have laboratories underneath. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, concerts.
And concerts.
And Rose Bowls. And there's almost nobody around except for the people that are a part of your plot, so don't even worry. Oh, and police officers.
There's truant officers that just hang out all day.
One truant officer and at least 2 police officers.
The entire city of Los Angeles patrolled by one truant officer.
We didn't even talk about how disappointed those police officers were in both cases. Here's the car accident. One's a flipped van.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not running over there to be like, oh my God, is everybody okay? It's
No.
like, you did something bad. And then the cab driver, whose 19-year clean record is just ruined.
Yeah, that's the part that kind of made me laugh at the end of the movie, how, like, our truant officer was like, oh yeah, once they see this, they'll totally think that everything was, gonna be okay. When, like, the cop totally wrote up, like, a whole report. Like, that it's going down,
Yeah, there's a police report, sir.
Yeah, this officer is betting his entire career on this. Good luck with that.
There are undercover truant officers everywhere looking to see if kids are skipping school.
You better watch out, guys. We'll see you next week, folks. Thank you for listening. Bye.
See ya.
Thanks. Bye.
eartrumpetaudio.com.
Ideas and entertainment.
Loud and clear.